everyone, thanks for joining. My name is Jasmine. I'm from Helping Minds Online and I am a registered provisional practicing psychologist. My channel is basically all about psychoanalyzing and providing social commentary on topical events, or I like to psychoanalyze celebrities. Basically, I integrate psychological concepts into relevant topics like everyday topics, everyday people, to give you a fresh spin as well as broaden your opinion, but also I explain everything in a way that is easy to understand and therefore easy to apply to your own life. Having this knowledge can empower you to change your life for the better. So if you want to be entertained as well as find out interesting psychological concepts, tips and tricks in a way that is really easy to understand and apply to your own life, then hit subscribe. This is a relatively new channel, so I truly do notice like each and every subscriber, I see them. I notice your kind comments. So thank you, truly thank you. So what I'd like to do on this channel, because people do find it so interesting, is break down mental illnesses so you can understand them better. It's a topic that, it's fascinating, human psychology, but having someone who applies it to popular culture and who can apply it to celebrities to psychoanalyze them to give you a psychological profile, it's that extra little bit. So I also offer online support. It's convenient, it's anonymous, it's affordable. The link is in the bio, and check out my Instagram at Helping Minds Online for daily tips on a better you. Now, let's get into it. Today we are going to talk about Kanye's recent post to his IG story stating that he hopefully wants to win back Kim Kardashian. So he posted a picture of him and Kim kissing with a caption that essentially read, "Kanye West says God will bring him and Kim back together, inspire millions." So as you might know, Kim seems to have moved on with Pete Davidson. I did explore this relationship. I explored Pete's borderline personality disorder and how possible associated symptoms of borderline personality disorder might play out in that relationship. So it's quite interesting. It's on another video in this channel, so do make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss out on these videos. And possibly you might want to consider watching it right after watching this one. So the question is, with Kanye and his video and his plea to Kim, is it a typical action of a man who is a little jealous and wants the woman back once she's moved on and is happy with someone else? It's quite a standard reaction, something that we see play out in movies all the time. Or could his actions be explained by his bipolar disorder? So as a practicing provisional psychologist, let me share with you my insights and my psychoanalysis on Kanye's recent declaration of love. First, here's a quick little bit of background on who these two are. Kudos to you if you are clueless, but most of us know who Kim and Kanye are. They were a married couple and they split in February of 2021. Kanye West started out as a rapper and a record producer, and he's now a fashion designer as well. And he did run for president a year or two ago, so he does have political aspirations as well. He has openly spoken out about his diagnosis with bipolar disorder, which happened in 2016. I'll explain the symptomatology a little bit later, as well as explain how some of Kanye's behaviors can be evidenced or explained simply by this disorder. I'll also explain how traumatic events in Kanye's life can be associated with the development of the disorder too. Now, Kim K, she is a celebrity and creator of many businesses as well. She also experienced significant trauma throughout her life, and while she has not been public with having any mental disorders, I believe she does display some behavioral irregularities and possible psychosomatic symptoms as response to a myriad of traumas she has experienced throughout her life. I might flesh this out in another video one day, so do comment if this is something that you'd like to see, and I will deliver. Now, Kanye's speech included admission that he's made mistakes in the marriage. He feels a strong need to be back with the family unit and belief in God's will that they will be brought back together. Not only that, but the act of them being brought back together will help to unify many broken relationships throughout the world. So following on from this speech, he then posts the kissing picture and a caption of him and Kim on his Instagram stories. Since this post, he's now deleted his entire Instagram feed, but he has done that before, and it might just be to promote an album again. So essentially what I'm saying is it might be completely unrelated to his efforts to win back his ex-wife. I don't know if they're complete, win back Kim. So as always, I introduce my biases right away to help you in forming your own objective opinion. See, we all have biases that skew how we view things. It skews the beliefs that we hold. It even influences our behavior. So my biases that I believe that I bring into this video would probably center around Kanye's diagnosis of bipolar disorder and how the media have just crucified him, when really, we should be showing empathy for such a debilitating disorder. I know Kanye almost seems to glorify his symptoms at times, so that makes it a little harder to feel that empathy, but make no mistake, bipolar disorder is significant, and the low moods can often include suicidal thoughts. So they're my biases, and regarding Kim and Kanye, today I'll explore them using psychological concepts of attraction and also exploring the role of bipolar disorder and how it might present and function within the relationship. I'll also discuss their possible trauma bonds. So what does that mean? It's basically when people experience trauma, particularly during childhood, they often wind up being attracted to others who have also experienced trauma. Maybe you've noticed that within yourself, if you look within your own social circle, if you've experienced trauma, you might notice that, hey, a lot of people that I'm friends with have actually experienced trauma too. So if you want an explanation as to how that phenomena occurs and why that might be, please subscribe to my channel, because I break down the impact of trauma on the adult mind quite a bit. So it provides invaluable insight. Also, some of you may be in a relationship with someone with bipolar disorder, so understanding the role of mental conditions, of trauma, complex trauma within romantic relationships can really help your relationships, or it can even really help you. Now, with Kanye and bipolar disorder, I must preface by stating these are simply generalizations I am making about some symptoms that can be attributed to someone with bipolar disorder. I have never met nor treated Kanye. I wouldn't be disclosing this if I had, or doing this video if I had. And for each and every individual with bipolar disorder, their symptom severity, the trajectory, how that symptom will manifest behaviorally is subject to huge personal variables. Also, if I'm saying anything at all that is perpetuating any stigma, any mental health stigma, speak up. Please comment below. Please let people know. Let everyone know, please. This is your platform. So, that's another reason why I did create this channel, is to help dispel some of the stigma surrounding mental health conditions and to hopefully create some discussion and awareness and empathy. So yeah, thank you to those of you who are on board and who have already subscribed. As I said, I notice each and every one of you, and I'm so thankful. So let's first explore my theory on their trauma bonds. What I mean by this is how after experiencing complex trauma, it can change the brain and your body too. This can occur through deregulation of the hormone associated with stress, which is cortisol. So you can think of that hormone as like the fight or flight hormone. So often what can happen is when we are exposed to trauma or stress constantly, which can happen like with abusive childhoods, for example, it actually works to change our brain, our physiology, our thoughts, even our behavior. So later on in life, friendships can actually be formed because you both now might think and act in similar manners. So that's like how people can end up bonding because of trauma. By similar manners, an example might be impulsivity. People from trauma seem to make decisions faster, and this can stem back to fight or flight. It's a protective mechanism. You make a decision quick or else you die when like that lion comes to eat you. So it was an ancestral trait which ensured evolution of humankind. However, we now no longer have like the lions and tigers coming to eat us. So instead, like these days, our environments are filled with what? Consumer choices, spending, like sex is so available. So if you are impulsive, maybe you're more inclined to gamble or to impulse purchase. So that's how trauma can change the brain and lead us to associate with others who have experienced trauma as well. So linking this all back to Kanye and bipolar disorder, one of the symptoms of bipolar disorder is being impulsive, and there are many, sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but like there are many examples of this throughout Kanye's life that we have seen. Like an example might be the post stating he wanted her back. See, many of us might have that impulse. We have that impulse following a breakup, but we are able to control it through our executive cognitive functioning and effective decision-making abilities. Someone with bipolar disorder, though, they actually may be lacking this ability within their brain, which can explain their impulsivity. So Kim would really need to weigh up, is this a real proper decision where he's been feeling this for a long time, or did he simply have the typical reaction that most of us get when we see our exes with someone new? It's like, I want them back. How dare they move on? But then executive functioning comes into play and we say, no, they've moved on, or no, they're happy, or no, like we broke up for a reason. So we all have those impulses. The difference is with bipolar disorder is that your ability for your brain to like reason it out can be lacking, and that is why impulsivity is a symptom. Another example of Kanye being impulsive includes sharing how Kim nearly aborted North. Though Kanye does have a tendency to share his distress with the audience, like he also did this when his mother passed away, like that probably doesn't really fit in with a presidential campaign. But the most infamous example might be jumping on the stage when Taylor Swift won the Best Video award, and he took the mic off her and said, no way, like Beyonce should have won. Honestly, like I think we were all thinking the same thing, like that Beyonce should have won that award, but through learned social norms, we know not to express that impulse, that thought verbally, and certainly not to express it physically through jumping onto the stage in the middle of an award show and grabbing the mic. It's very interesting to look back at Kanye's actions throughout the years, and through psychoanalyzing it, you can see how his actions can be explained as part of his illness. It's really important to note this too. Following that award show, Pink said he was a jackass and that his actions were really poor, really socially unacceptable, and like they were almost sexist too. Like Pink didn't say all of those things, she just said he was a jackass, but that's sort of like what we can all sort of see from that. And would Kanye have done the same thing to a man that was 6'4"? Probably. I think it really is a good possibility that he still would have, so I don't really think it was a sexist thing. But my point is that we need to make allowances for just as upset as Pink might have been to witness that poor and like disrespectful behavior. I'm quite sure that the person that is engaging in that behavior, that's dealing with that lack of impulse control and the associated like constant consequences brought on through having symptoms of bipolar disorder, like I'm quite sure that they're suffering as well. And they're probably suffering a lot more than we as spectators are. So that is how bipolar disorder might explain why he may have posted that declaration of love and wanting someone back. And if you combine the standard knee-jerk reaction of seeing our ex moving on that we all sort of get, like that jealous and doing desperate things to gain back what you've lost, like it hurts the ego. And sometimes we don't actually process the loss until the person is with someone else. And then when you actually see them with someone else, like that is the true representation of something being taken away from you. They're with someone else, they're someone else's. And it's really hard for any of us to see that when our ex is with someone new and is happy, because that was once our role. Another symptom of bipolar disorder can actually include thoughts of grandiosity, which is when you feel like invincible, undefeatable, and you have like a greatly inflated sense of self-worth. Now, Kanye has said he isn't going to take his medication because it causes weight gain, amongst other reasons too, but medication helps to stabilize his moods. And the problem can be that some people, they miss the highs. And in Kanye West's case in particular, him not being on medication, just him actually just having bipolar disorder in general is very dangerous because of how we as a society feed his symptoms. So when I go back and watch interviews with Kanye, I can very clearly see how amped up he is, how sped up he is, how his thoughts are racing and he's articulating very big and grand ideas. And if he was anyone other than Kanye, we would all be concerned if someone were behaving this way. But we all his hanger-ons, all the people that surround him, we enable him, saying it's his genius, which probably just makes his thoughts of grandiosity even worse. Just take a look at this interview with Ellen, but this time don't see him as Kanye the genius. I'll tell you what to look for. Look for someone who is totally disconnected from the person he's having a conversation with. Look at that person. Is there discomfort within Ellen? Listen to his ideas. Do they indicate an inflated sense of self-worth? Do they seem sped up? Also, are there signs of agitation? So let's take a look.
What's the point of thinking? Well, sometimes I understand, but sometimes there is a point to thinking. And then you tweeted out that you wanted Mark Zuckerberg to give you $53 million. In hindsight, should that have gone on Facebook?
Yes. I should have put it on Facebook. Now I understand why he didn't hit me back. I understand that Zuckerberg doesn't use Twitter.
Yeah.
Even though I have had dinner with him and his wife and told him about how I wanted to help the world, and he said he'd help me, and then blah, blah, blah. And like, that's how it feels though. You know, it's like the pursuit of happiness. Like, it's like you're trying to sell this bone density machine or something, you know, in that movie. I feel that if I had more resources, I could help more people. I have ideas that can make the human race existence within our 100 years better. Period. The paparazzi, whatever perception you have of me, starting with the truth, starting with what everyone's thinking, start there, put some dope with it.
Okay, I'm with you.
Ye is in the building. Throw your mother hands in the air right now. Put your hands in the air right now. Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'm with you on the truth part.
Okay, so did you notice that he barely made eye contact with Ellen? Maybe once in that whole time. She was barely even present in his mind in all of that, despite it being an interview. His speech was tangential, he seemed agitated and wound up, and his thoughts seemed erratic and were like they were really goal-oriented and on a really grand scale. Now please, like, I'm not picking on him, I'm not picking on his flaws. As psychologists, like, we need to monitor for this behavior. So I do admit, like, I'm highly sensitive to it. If I'm with someone and their legs are like knocking back and forth like this, and if they're not making eye contact, and if they have pressured speech, like, I'm taking note of it. It's my job and duty of care. The problem with Kanye, in my opinion, is how much we encourage him to behave this way through, like, reinforcing it as his genius, because, like, bipolar disorder is not just the manic episodes. It's called bipolar disorder because there are two sides. So he comes down from these highs and you're sick, aren't you, baby? Oh. See, when he comes down from these highs, that would be very private. We wouldn't see that. And those lows, and when you come down, like, the moods can be so low that suicide is considered. And in some unfortunate cases, it's actually acted upon. So we have a man who is not taking his medication and who has incredible power and influence and wealth, with a myriad of people who are also supporting his grandiosity, which is actually a symptom. If someone had hoarding disorder, like, we would not go out and buy them, like, more things to hoard or buy them cupboards to put things into. Sorry, this dog. And that goes to say as well, like, if someone had binge eating disorder, we wouldn't go out and buy them, like, a tray of donuts, because if we did, we'd be enabling them. So back to the grandiosity, like, being with Kim actually does feed into this symptom too. So the Kardashians, like, this dog, he's got a sore stomach. You're so naughty. But yeah, no, the Kardashians are probably, like, the most talked about and photographed family in the world. If you're with Kim Kardashian, that gets you attention. It gets you, like, worldwide attention. And now Pete Davidson is getting that attention. Like, at the time of this recording, that's who Kim is with. Like, that could actually be another reason to explain, like, Kanye's declaration of, like, let's get back together. So Kanye has had significant trauma throughout his life. Articles suggest that he actually had a pretty normal childhood, though his parents did separate, which is, like, considered a trauma. in some cases, and he has later on admitted that his father did want him aborted. So that could be reflected in the father's behaviour to the son later on, through either being abusive or neglectful towards Kanye as a child. We don't really know though. He also did move to an Asian country, I think it was China, and he said he was the only black person there and that he loved the attention. But those kind of significant adjustments and changes and experiences, a part of you can be traumatized by like just the simple, like the cultural adjustment of the constant staring. Yeah, but so most importantly to note is Kanye's head injury, because longitudinal psychiatric research has found that people with bipolar disorder are far more likely to have had a traumatic brain injury, which is exactly what happened to Kanye when he was about 25, I think it was. So research also shows like a strong relationship between diagnoses of bipolar disorder with complex trauma. And going back to my theory on trauma bonds and how we can feel an affinity towards others who have experienced trauma too, with Kim and Kanye, and even with Kim and Pete Davidson, which just seems such an unlikely pairing, just remember the similar trauma they all share of parental loss. And it was parental loss in really unexpected and sudden passings. Like, they each lost a parent, and for each of them, their parents were all taken too soon, particularly for when you think of Kanye and Pete, that was very unexpected and sudden and violent as well, to a certain degree for Kanye, definitely for Pete. Sorry, that's terrible. And yeah, like for all three of them, the parent was taken well before their time. And after Kim, K and Kanye broke up, he allegedly rebounded with, it's probably pronounced Irina Shayk. Irina broke up with Bradley Cooper, who also has externalizing mental health conditions. This is, again, of no surprise to me. People who experience traumatic experiences often have mental illnesses because the trauma can change the brain. You then gravitate to like-minded individuals, and if you think about, like, if you look at the trauma within the Kardashian-Jenner family and look at so many of the Kardashian sisters, like, a lot of their relationship choices can be explained through trauma bonds, repeated behavior, and cortisol addiction. So do subscribe if you would like to hear about these psychoanalyses as well. So there could be a few motivating factors for Kanye's declaration of love and please come back to me, Kim, that thing that he posted. So tell me, like, what are your thoughts? I think it's impulsivity. I think it's a man with a debilitating mental illness who simply loves his kids, loves his wife, but the illness itself made a relationship too hard. And good on Kim, like, for sticking by a man with such symptoms for as long as she did. There would have been such darkness, I'm guessing, that we never saw, and we probably never will. I know it seems like the cameras are rolling 24/7, but what we see is a carefully constructed, contrived image that they want us to see. I think Kanye suffers quite a bit, and on a side note, he possibly has body dysmorphic disorder as well. He, for instance, won't take his medication due to weight gain, amongst other reasons, and he got lipo for his wedding, even though his own mother died from the procedure. She died from complications associated with the procedure. And also, like, keep in mind the possible reoccurring trauma Kanye experiences each and every time Kim, his wife, the mother of his children goes under the knife and has plastic surgery, which we don't know if she does, of course, but if you do believe that she gets the BBLs, for example, like, it's very dangerous surgery. If they inject the fat into the wrong vein, the fat goes straight into your heart and it's instant lights out. Like, it's just not worth it. But anyway, each to their own. And thank you for tuning in today. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video and celebrity insights and psychoanalysis that I like to do. And please have a lovely day. A little mental health quote from me today that I ripped off my Instagram page, Helping Minds Online, is trust yourself. You've survived a lot and you'll survive whatever is coming. Thanks again. Take care.